Welcome, folks. Let's dive right into some pretty intriguing geopolitical chatter about a potential new world order. We're talking about China, Russia, and India, and how recent moves at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting might be reshaping global alliances.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. It's a bold claim that these three powerhouses are aligning in a way that challenges the traditional Western dominated system, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So the discussion centers on how these nations could be moving closer together, almost like they're sketching blueprints for a brand new global order.
Interesting point. And this whole idea really gets your mind racing. Like, what are the geopolitical implications? It's not every day you see such a dramatic shift potentially happening.
Exactly. It's like, picture this. For centuries, global power dynamics have seen Western alliances dominating. But now, with this close up scenario, we might see a different power equation emerging.
Yeah, that's a game changer. One of the fascinating tidbits is how these talks, reportedly discussed in Dr. O's video, are linked to the broader narrative of recent conflicts, like the Russia Ukraine war. It almost weaves together regional moves with long standing global tensions.
Right, and Dr. O even links these moves with real world outcomes from his book War Diaries. Volume 1, The Russia Ukraine War, 2022 2023. It's like he's providing historical context alongside these more speculative alliances.
Indeed. I've been thinking, while it's compelling to see these three nations cozy up, isn't there a risk that this portrayal oversimplifies their complex strategic interests? Not every nod or handshake translates into a unified new world order, right?
Absolutely, that's a solid challenge. I mean, it's like saying that just because three major players meet, they're all on the same page. There's nuance in each country's agenda.
Right, exactly. I mean, each of these nations has its own historical baggage, strategic motivations, and regional priorities. So, while the meeting is a fascinating signal, we need to be careful not to jump to conclusions about a full blown alliance.
Yeah, it's like imagine three people in a group project. Just because they're in the same room doesn't mean they're all thinking the same thing.
Yep. And then there's the element of timing. The world is in a state of flux, with shifting alliances and unpredictable leadership moves. So, while Dr. O's view is provocative, do you think it's painting too deterministic a picture?
I can see where that comes from. But sometimes, even if it's a bit exaggerated, these kinds of discussions highlight the dangers of underestimating emerging multipolarity.
Yeah, I get that. Right. It's like in politics, a little exaggeration can serve as a warning flag, but then it's essential to balance that with a clear eyed look at each nation's strategies.
Exactly. And another interesting aspect is how these alignments might impact global institutions. Think NATO, the EU. The narrative suggests there's a potential collapse or at least a major reconfiguration underway.
That's a bold insight. Yeah, and this might hint at a shift in global order where power isn't solely defined by military might, but through economic and political alliances. It really begs the question, are we moving toward a more fragmented world or just a different kind of global unity?
It's kind of like mixing oil and water yet finding a new emulsion. Sometimes opposites do attract in unexpected ways.
Yeah, exactly. And what about domestic political narratives? For instance, in many of these countries, nationalism still plays a huge role. Could internal politics complicate their efforts to project a unified international strategy?
Oh, totally. National pride and historical narratives can often clash with the idea of forming a bloc. Each country's internal audience might demand that they prioritize national interests above all else, even when courting external alliances.
Definitely. Right. And that might be where the challenge lies. The alignment might make sense on paper during meetings like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, but behind closed doors, domestic pressures could steer decisions in different directions.
Exactly. It's like trying to coordinate a group dance where everyone has their own rhythm. Sometimes it just doesn't sync.
Yeah, true. And then there's this whole aspect of economic interdependence. For example, China's economic influence is well known, while India's market is booming and Russia's energy resources are pivotal. Each has something unique to offer, But could these interests ever fully merge into one grand strategy?
It's like, each is a piece of a grand jigsaw puzzle that might never quite fit together perfectly. They share some common ground, but their economic drivers are distinct.
Right on. And then we have to consider historical rivalries. For instance, China and India have their long standing border disputes. So, while there's a new narrative emerging, history might throw a wrench into the works at any moment.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the age old saying, history is stubborn, and it doesn't just vanish because you have a meeting on
Yeah,
paper.
absolutely. So, given all these nuances, do you think Dr. O's book, which covers the Russia Ukraine war, adds a layer to understanding these emerging alliances? Like, does it provide a backdrop to understand the stakes here?
I'd say it does. The book, with its focus on the intense dynamics of the Russia Ukraine conflict, shows us that these alliances aren't happening in isolation. They're part of a larger, tumultuous global tapestry.
Totally. Yeah, it ties together the idea that crises often act as catalysts for realignment. Wars, economic pressures, even ideological battles can accelerate these shifts.
Exactly. It's like stress on a bridge making you reassess the whole structure. When big events hit, you see which parts of the system hold and which parts, well, shake loose.
Right, that's a neat analogy. And then there's the role of the international media. Dr. O's video, for instance, has garnered quite the attention. Do you think that plays a part in either fostering or challenging the narrative of this emerging world order?
Oh, for sure. Media narratives can amplify these ideas to a point where they start taking on lives of their own. Some might see it as a call to be on high alert, while others dismiss it as mere sensationalism.
Yeah, right. And that duality is critical. While some gravitate toward the conspiracy angle of a new world order, others may critique it as overly dramatized without enough empirical backing.
Exactly. And that's where respectful debate comes in. There's a fine line between warning signs of geopolitical shifts and jumping to conspiracy theories that serve a political agenda.
I agree. Speaking of which, do you think that the potential for a new world order as depicted here is a realistic prospect or just a narrative spun to stir geopolitical anxiety?
Well, it's definitely grounded in real geopolitical moves. But at the same time, the narrative does lean toward an exaggerated assessment at times. It's a bit like using a magnifying glass that, while it highlights some fine details, also distorts the bigger picture.
Yeah, that's a fair critique. Right. So, while the meeting at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is a significant event, it might not be the definitive turning point some suggest. It's one piece of an intricate puzzle.
Exactly. And that's what makes these kinds of discussions so fascinating. They force us to ask tough questions about power, influence, and the evolving nature of global alliances.
Absolutely. And as always, keeping an eye on the details, while being cautious not to let dramatic narratives override the subtle complexities of international relations, is key.
Sure thing, it's like walking a tightrope between vigilance and overreaction. Each new development must be assessed with both skepticism and open mindedness.
That's spot on. So, wrapping this up, it's clear that while the idea of a new world order led by China, Russia, and India is captivating, we've got to dig deeper into the context, historical baggage, and individual national interests. There's no one-size-fits-all answer in geopolitics.
Exactly. And that complexity is what fuels ongoing debates and makes geopolitical discussions endlessly fascinating. We need balanced perspectives to truly understand what's unfolding on the world stage.
Right, exactly. Well, this has been quite the dive into potential global shifts. I appreciate the insights and the thoughtful challenge on some points. It really highlights how multifaceted these topics are.
Thanks, and I appreciate the critical eye. It's conversations like these that make us better equipped to navigate the maze of global politics.
Absolutely. All right, folks, that's a wrap for now. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and see you in the next discussion on these ever-evolving, intriguing dynamics.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and remember, geopolitics is rarely black and white. It's a vast spectrum of nuance.
Yep, indeed.